What is all the hype around JJ McCarthy? Is he actually good? Is he worth a top five pick? And more importantly, can he change a franchise? Let's talk about it. Let's start off with some pros. We'll move over to the cons after. I'll give you a draft comp at the end of the video, two of them, in fact, and then we're going to talk about the verdict at the end of the video. But let's start off with the pros. He's a winner, right? He's 27-1 as a starter. His highlight tape is not as flashy as guys like Drake May, Jaden Daniels, and of course, Caleb Williams. But this guy won, and he won a lot more than all three of those guys pretty much combined. But this is a guy that won at the highest level, and he did exactly what his team asked him to do on a weekly basis. Sometimes he needed to hand the ball off 35 times. The other times, he needed to step up and make a key throw on a third or fourth down. So this is a guy that did exactly what he was asked to do, and that will translate tremendously at the next level. So keep that in mind, right? But then great accuracy, right? When we talk about his actual on-field throwing, we saw it as pro day just yesterday. This dude is tremendously accurate, whether if he's on or off balance. This is a guy that can make those throws. And have you guys seen him throw over the middle of the field? Great velocity, great touch, great accuracy. And of course, that can all translate huge at the next level. But like I kind of mentioned there, he also has this like sneaky athleticism to him that can sometimes lead to these big created plays simply by JJ McCarthy, right? Again, this offense was known to have a great offensive line, and they ran the ball 35 times. But what goes what goes unnoticed, rather, most of the time, is the fact that JJ sometimes had to make those key second, third, and fourth down throws when the team needed it the most. And sometimes it came off of his athleticism and his legs making a play when they didn't have one. But his cons, we're going to talk about his frame, right? He's a little slender. He is 6'3", ideal height for an NFL quarterback, but he is a little bit slender, right? I will also say, as of right now, he's around the 220 range. At his last collegiate game, he was believed to be about 10 to 15 pounds lighter. So JJ he's noticed this con about his game, or the idea about him, that he's a little bit smaller, and he's addressing it. So that's always a good sign, addressing a weakness that you see fit. And he should probably put on another 10 to 15 pounds before the NFL season. The next thing is the lack of volume. Of course, the biggest stigma around him is that he handed the ball off 30 times. He didn't, Michigan didn't win because of JJ McCarthy. So that is also a con. We do have to worry about the reps. However, I don't believe it'll be as big of a problem as people make it out to be. The last thing is that he does force some passes at times. And again, that could relate to also the lack of volume, right? The inexperience when attacking down the field. You could say, hey, he doesn't have enough reps under his belt to not make those ill-advised decisions. But let's talk about some draft comps here. Again, on the left side, you see JJ McCarthy's height, weight, completion percentage of his collegiate career, and quarterback rating. On the right side, the height and weight will be modern day compared to this NFL quarterback. The bottom will be that quarterback in the NFL, his collegiate stats. So you see pretty similar across the board. JJ actually has the edge. Same height, basically, same weight. And that is Derek Carr. I think Derek Carr is a guy that is a nearly similar prospect to a guy like JJ McCarthy. Coming out of Fresno State, this is a guy that wasn't the number one quarterback in his class, but Derek Carr, of course, sneaky athleticism, sometimes can make a play with his legs and give his team a big play. But also, Derek Carr, I will say, is a little bit more advanced when attacking the ball down the field, but I definitely see the similarities between these two. But for the OG fans here, let's talk about a throwback guy, right? A guy that's been retired, but he was also the teacher of maybe the greatest quarterback of all time. Right side, any guesses? It is Alex Smith. Saw Daniel Jeremiah compare this, and I said, that's interesting. Let me go back and do my own research. Alex Smith is a perfect comparison, right? If you want an older comparison. But Alex Smith, of course, similar size and frame, and of course, passing numbers as well. But Alex Smith is probably the most similar comparison to a guy like JJ McCarthy with how they both attack the field. They're accurate when they're doing so. But again, they're not the most elite. They're not the elite of the elite. Guys like Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen as far as arm talent. And of course, that just it factor to take you over the top. But the verdict here. So he's like kind of like a Derek Carr, Alex Smith kind of quarterback, a guy that's going to be in that 10 to 15 range, kind of like a guy like Kirk Cousins was in his career. He's a guy that's a winner. He's going to do exactly what you asked him to do. He's very selfless, and he's going to put his team first. It's a guy that's going to cost a top 5 pick. If you think he's worth it, that's a pro for you. If you don't, you think that's an overpay. But at the very least, he's probably going to cost a top 5 draft pick here in a couple weeks. But with all of that being said, with the draft comps, with the pros, the cons, is JJ McCarthy worth a top 5 selection? I think he is. I think answering all those questions, I think he's a winner. I think he would translate, especially for the Minnesota Vikings with Kevin O'Connell and all those talented weapons surrounding him, giving him just a great place to start his career, right? But I think JJ McCarthy will be a good quarterback. I'm not going to say he'll be the best in the class, but I think as of right now, he is worth a top 5 pick. And you can argue he's the third best quarterback in the class.